South Carolina. By the time you work with the different school districts, you've got a lot of grassroots stuff that you have to do, whereas if you're in a community where people are more alike and more more homogenous, where they think the same, they can get with it a lot quicker. It's a lot harder to bring together communities that have such vast different personalities. And even Richland County has vast different personalities. There's a different sensibility in Lower Richland than there is out here. There's a different sensibility out in the Decker area, and the Northeast has a different personality than downtown. So trying to get everybody on one page, it takes a lot of work. So, but we are working together.
I'm Nick. I'm 9th grade. I plan on going to Coastal for sports medicine.
Awesome.
What steps has the county taken to become more transparent?
Okay, I'm gonna answer that. But why do you want to do sports medicine? You like it?
Yeah.
You like it? So how come Coastal Carolina and how come not USC?
Well, Coastal is near beach.
Oh, so you want to be right, so you're going to do some studying, right? You're going to do. You're not going to just stay at the beach the whole time, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm leaving my card for you. My brother is the director of the sports medicine program for the University of South Carolina. So I think you need to be around those stinky athletes to make sure that's something you really want to do. Yeah, I mean, you should. I mean, I'm just kidding, but you need to see what the sports medicine is, because maybe you actually might want to be a doctor instead of, because he wanted to just do sports medicine, and then somebody talked to him when he was in high school and said, maybe you might be a surgeon instead, so that you can run stuff. So just go and look and see, you know, before you jump into it. Just see what they do, which is good. I'm not saying you shouldn't do it, but if you have the opportunity to go hang out with my brother and see what it's all about, you should take that opportunity. Okay. What steps are we taking to be more transparent? I think I described it with radio, TV, Richland 101, speaking engagements. So we do a lot to be transparent. And also, and this is the only one I think you probably need to write, all of our financials are out there on the website since about 2006. So you can look at our entire budget, how we spend money, and everything. It's out there. And our budget department has won an award 16 straight years in a row.
You're also in the process of putting all your county council meetings online.
I don't even want to talk about that. Yes, we are. I mean, it's a good thing, but it's not the only thing. I just want it done right. So I'm doing my research to make sure it's done right.
That's good.
But
to be commended for that. That's another step towards public transparency.
Right, exactly. Jarvis? Okay.
Can you ask us for us?
Me?
Thanks.
My name is Sean. I'm in 9th grade at Monroe High School. I'm going to the Marines.
Okay.
How is the growth in your country's budget compared to the growth in South Carolina's average per capita income in the last 10 years?
I cannot really answer. I really can't answer that because I'm not quite certain. I know that because of the fact that I could find that question out for you, but I will say this. I think last year on a $100,000 home, the taxes were like $34 or something like that. The county takes it very seriously how we manage your money, and my boss, he is working around across the entire calendar year to actually put together a responsible budget. I'll give you an example. He started $16 million in the hole. Those were the requests that I made and the other department directors made. Now, I live within my means. I live within the budget. But there are a lot of things that are happening. I'll just give you one example. The Sheriff's Department had to make a budget adjustment this past year of like $1.5 million. That was just in fuel costs. So when gas prices go up, there is definitely an impact. But we're very mindful. Like I said, no pay raises for any county employees going into the third year. A lot of them are really salty and mad about that. But hey, you have a job. We do trash collections, you get 3 different trash collections a year, and I think that's a fee of like over $200 and something a year, but that's nominal in compared if you had to go and actually pay for that service monthly. So the county council and the county is very mindful, and the largest ticket item is education. And we have to pick up the slack that the state does. The state actually passed an act called Act 388 that basically looked at sales tax as the largest revenue to actually fund schools. Well, guess what happened in 2007? Anybody want to guess? The economic crisis. So in an economic crisis, do you think people are buying as much? So they're not paying the sales tax. So when the schools kind of were running a little bit short, didn't want to have to cut teachers, and school systems still are having to make these difficult decisions, it's the local government, your parents, me, and other working folks that have to put that up, and I think it's a good thing. So we're very sensitive to it, and at least from the general fund standpoint, there hasn't been a tremendous amount of growth from one year to the next. Okay.
How has the growth in Richland County's population compared to the overall growth in the state's population since the last census?
I'm glad you asked this question. It has been pretty, we know that particularly in areas in the Northeast and then out here what's considered the Northwest, that there has been a tremendous amount of growth. And what that means is that more schools have had to come online. And a lot of times when your new schools open up, they're already obsolete. And we need and we need more schools. District 2, for example, I think had been growing at a pace of almost 2 new schools a year over the last 10 years. So, I mean, that is tremendous. I'm not talking about just high schools, but I'm talking about elementary, middle schools, or whatever. That is tremendous growth. Now, the thing that I'm most proud of is that the last 10 years, back in 2000, we only had a reporting turn-in rate of like 60-something%, like 65% out of 100. That is horrendous. That means that we weren't getting the adequate funding for schools, for roads, for hospitals, because our population count wasn't correct. This time around, I want to say that because people don't, first of all, a lot of people don't want people knocking on their door and asking their questions. A lot of folks didn't want to, they didn't understand the stakes and filling it out and sending it back in. So I think we had more like a 77% response rate, which is pretty good. We want it to be 100%, but that kind of would never happen. But my office and a lot of other people at the state, we work with the state and also the federal census people to actually get the word out. And so that was good. That was just basically the mail-in response rate. I think it was a lot higher when you looked at even when the people had to go back out. But that was tremendous from the last time in 2000, where we only had like 65% that actually reported.
That's a pretty good return that
It
people
is.
filled it out. And I think you had about a 27% growth as a county, which is excellent. It means people are moving into the area.
My name is Alexis, and at the college I plan to be a marriage counselor.
A what?
A marriage counselor.
Okay.
White County government revenues has not inclined nearly as much as state revenues.
Because they haven't, because of the fact that we didn't spend money we didn't have. My boss is really, he's from the country, he went to Newberry, and he is very, very, very conservative. And the speech that he has given me before, which really rang true to me, was, this isn't ours, this doesn't belong to us. Like, I'll get some wild idea that I want to do, and he'll be like, we can't spend money on that, because this doesn't belong to us. We have to be good stewards. So I think we have maybe about a $30-something million rainy day fund, if you want to call it that. And the state doesn't have that. And it's not that we don't have the pressures. You saw that our budget's like over $600-something million. But he tries to live within our means. Because if we live within our means, then if an emergency happens, we can tap into that. And again, I don't think you all kind of realize the breadth of what we have to do.